And the winner is my man James Dupri's artist, So Def recording artist.
Put your hands together for Kross.
We want another one.
I want to thank God, you know what I'm saying?
Know what I'm saying? While you looking at it.
I just want to just keep moving.
While New York had Bad Boy and the West Coast had Death Row. In the early 90s, the South had something to say too, with artists ranging from Kross to Anthony Hamilton. So Def was a cornerstone of the Atlanta music scene headed by its founder Jermaine Dupri. They were winning awards, topping the charts and setting trends, but what happened? In this video, we'll be looking into So Def, their rise, and what happened to the label that once dominated the South. Born in Asheville, North Carolina in 1972 and raised in Atlanta, Jermaine Dupri Malden was the son of Tina Mosley and Michael Malden, a music executive. JD got his start as a dancer for the hip-hop group Houdini when he was 12. He made an appearance in their music video for the song Freaks Come Out at Night and went on tour with the crew. Jermaine was known for his musical prowess, and the people in Atlanta took notice. After touring with Houdini, he started to venture into DJing and production.
What does the future hold for your career? How far do you expect to go?
I want to get Grammys. I just want to keep creating, be like the biggest producer ever or the biggest star ever, whatever. I don't want to look back and I don't want to fall, even though I'm not, I haven't really climbed up the ladder yet, but I'm getting there.
In 1990, he produced his first act, the female hip-hop trio Silk Times Leather. It consisted of 3 female rappers, Leather, Silk, and Diamond X. The group released one album, It Ain't Where You From, It's Where You At, in 1990 that was produced by Dupri while his father managed the trio. They were the first ever rap act from Atlanta to land a record deal, but their album had moderate success and the group eventually disbanded. One day, JD is hanging out with one of the girls from Silk Times Leather at the Greenbrier Mall, and he notices crowds gravitating towards 2 kids. In an interview on the Combat Jack podcast, JD said, "I see these 2 little kids and I see people paying attention to these kids like I've never seen anybody do ever. I've never seen nobody pay attention to 2 people that I don't know like that." When the 2 asked the Silk Times Leather member for her autograph, JD engaged the 2 kids in conversation and asked them if they were a group. The boys had been rapping since they were in 3rd grade, but weren't serious at the time.
Really, it was just like us both coming together in the mall. We asked one of his groups for an autograph, and then we just started talking to the producer, and then it just came from there.
The kids were Chris Kelly and Chris Smith, who were 12 and 13 years old respectively in 1991 when the then 19-year-old JD found them. Impressed by the way people gravitated towards them, he took the 2 under his wing. They began to do music together under the name C Connection. Around this same time, Jermaine also met a young Lisa Lopez who was new to Atlanta. You may have heard of her.
I'm the leggy left eye.
Jermaine and Lisa met through Ian Burke, a young A&R who had his ear to the streets. He would go on to discover Outkast. Yeah, he found them too.
But it's like this, the South got something to say, that's all I got to say.
Anyways, Ian told JD about Lisa during a photo shoot with C Connection. Lisa was homeless at the time, peddling for money by asking for spare change from visitors at the Atlanta airport, but Ian vouched that she had real talent. Seeing her potential, JD invited Lisa to stay with him at his mother's house.
So she was doing this, but she didn't really have no place to stay, right? She was just moving around, this, that, and the third, and I'm like, for some reason, I'm like, you could just stay at my house. Now, I don't know why I said this, because I was staying with my mom. I don't know why I said it, but some kind of way I figured that I could sneak her in my house and she could live there, and she did.
JD snuck Lisa in his house and she slept in his closet while working on her music. Then Ian met Tion Watkins and impressed by her cool tomboy swag, it was Ian's idea for the girls to form a group with another local singer named Crystal. They made their first demo together under the name Second Nature, produced by JD.
There's a very important person we can't forget who was with us from day one. That was Jermaine Dupri. Because when me and Left Eye met, before we met Chili, he was the only person that was working with us. And we sung on our first demo with Jermaine.
Yep, and see, the demo didn't even have words to it because we never got a chance to lay the words down because he was working with Kross. So all we had was his song and these jacked up pictures. And I hope nobody ever finds those pictures. I'll mail them to you.
Second Nature. Shut up.
I went in the group at the time, so I can get a hold of those pictures. They were looking real crazy.
I'm not ashamed because we all got to start from somewhere.
The song was dope that Jermaine wrote.
It was called I Got It Going On.
I Got It Going On.
All my life I had someone try to sweat me.
That was my part, man. We gotta see it like that.
I had someone try to sex me.
Yeah.
I can't sing the rest, but that's how it went, okay?
Jermaine is responsible for more than people think because Tion sang low and Tion sang high. But when Tion sang low,
He used to call me Scruffy.
Jermaine, he called her Scruffy, and he told her that was so dope. He said it was dope. He said, sing low, let that be you, your voice.
JD would say the way I sing my songs is the reason why T-Boz sounds the way she sounds today. She was trying to mimic me. That's why her voice is so low. Jermaine eventually paused working with the girls to solely focus on working with the two Kris's who had renamed themselves to Kris Kross. Tion and Lisa ended up meeting Rozonda Thomas and went on to form the group TLC, and well,
TLC, the best-selling female R&B group.
They were pretty successful, to say the least. JD would say in a 2020 interview, in the end, that was the crew, Ian, Left Eye, Kris and Jermaine. We were the unstoppable team that didn't have nothing. That was the first So Def. In the spring of 1991, Jermaine had landed Kris Kross a deal with Rough House Records, a label distributed by Columbia. This was done through the help of his father, who by that time had formed his own artist management business and was working with the hip-hop group Arrested Development. Jermaine had spent the past year molding the two Kris's into artists, perfecting their look and the way they performed.
Yeah, you gotta understand, people out there, Kris Kross weren't rappers. They weren't kids walking around with demos. They weren't trying to be rappers. They weren't trying to be singers. When I met them, I said, what do y'all do? Light-skinned Kris said, we just cool.
Jermaine built upon the kids' already authentic swag and made them into a bona fide hip-hop group, with a demo tape that was convincing enough to get them signed. The two Kris's even had new names. Chris Kelly inheriting a new name of Mac Daddy, and Chris Smith now going by Daddy Mac. And within less than 2 years of meeting JD at the mall, the guys had a hit on their hands. Their first single was a high-energy radio-friendly tune called Jump. You might have heard of it. Jump was the first single from their debut studio album, Totally Crossed Out. It was the third best-selling song of 1992 and sold over 2 million copies that year. Jump was a smash hit, and Kris Kross was a breath of fresh air to the rap scene, a genre often marred by explicit lyrics and violent themes. Their unique style and youthful energy brought a new, more playful vibe to hip-hop, making them stand out in the early 90s. Plus, who can forget this line?
And everything is to the back with a little slack, cause inside out is wiggin' whack.
Kris and Kris started a movement of kids and young adults alike wearing their clothes backward. This trend, initially a shot at the other kiddie rap group Another Bad Creation, who were known for wearing their clothes inside out, became a defining aspect of their identity and influence. The backward clothing trend became so iconic that it wasn't just a fashion statement, it was a cultural phenomenon that symbolized youthful rebellion and creativity, leaving a lasting mark on the era. Kris Kross had arrived. They had a #1 hit, advertisement deals, and in 1992, the duo landed a tour gig on Michael Jackson's Dangerous Tour. They were a huge deal at the time, solidifying their place in music history. Their success opened doors to numerous opportunities, including collaborations with other prominent artists and appearances on major television shows. Their influence extended beyond music as they became style icons and role models for a generation. Kris Kross's impact was felt across various media, from music videos on MTV to features in popular magazines. Their debut album, Totally Crossed Out, went multi-platinum, further cementing their status as superstars. The duo's rise to fame was meteoric, and JD was along for the ride, molding the guys in his image, providing them with the guidance and production prowess that helped shape their distinctive sound and style. His influence was instrumental in their success, ensuring that they wouldn't fizzle out as his previous group had. Capitalizing off of the rapid success of Kris Kross, in 1993, Jermaine established a record label, So Def Recordings, through a joint venture with Sony and Columbia. The first act on the label was also introduced to JD by Ian Burke.
Hi, I'm Tamika Cotto and I'm 16 years old.
Hello, I'm Candy Burris and I'm 15 years old.
Hi, I'm Tamika Scott and I'm 16 years old. Hello, I'm Natasha Scott and I'm 18 years old.
Xscape was the first act signed to So Def. Jermaine Dupri, already familiar with the group after they performed at his birthday the previous year, saw their immense potential and was keen on making them the flagship artist of his brand new label. Named Xscape to symbolize their desire to break free from the stereotypical R&B groups of the 90s, Jermaine was determined to develop Xscape into a powerhouse in the R&B scene. Like Kris Kross, this R&B group was a breath of fresh air for the music scene. Ditching the dresses and heels made uniform from groups like En Vogue, Xscape chose to wear baggy jeans and suits. Their first single, Just Kicking It, lit up the charts, peaking at #2 on the US Billboard Hot 100. Their debut album, Hummin' Coming At You, was released on October 12, 1993 and peaked at #17 on Billboard 200. Their second single, Understanding, peaked at #8 on Billboard and went platinum. So in other words, Xscape was a hit.
Well, what do you guys see for yourselves in the future?
more platinum hits, and
Platinum
more
hits.
fans like you all.
Jermaine was on top of the game and seemingly had the Midas touch. With a new label and a new act, he was spearheaded towards success. He also met one of his most monumental artists during this time.
Go check it out. This is JD. Me and So Def Recordings presents the Brat Tat Tat Tat.
Shawnte Harris, also known as the Brat, signed with Jermaine in 1992 after winning a rap contest sponsored by Yo MTV Raps and winning the opportunity to meet Kross. The duo introduced her to the producer-turned-CEO, and she inked a deal with So Def. Her debut album, Functified, peaked at #1 on the US Top R&B Hip-Hop Albums chart and #11 on the US Billboard 200. She was the first ever female rapper to have a platinum album.
Left out hanging.
This like hip hop history, so y'all, you know what I'm saying, y'all gotta pay attention, take heed. This ain't no, you know what I'm saying, ain't no faking here. We having a real deal party for the first female rapper to go platinum. No doubt. You know what I'm saying? So Def, Brat, you know what I'm saying? That's how we do it in 95.
From 1993 through 1997, So Def was on the rise. The crew was collaborating with other artists. Xscape was featured on Mariah Carey's Always Be My Baby remix, and Jermaine was producing and writing for artists like Usher, Lil Kim, and even Houdini. But while Jermaine and other artists were flourishing under the So Def label, Kross faced challenges. Their second album, The Bomb, released in 1993, received mixed reviews. The teenagers had transitioned to a more hardcore style, abandoning their kiddie aesthetics just a year after their debut. The new album featured the two Krisses using explicit language and adopting a new look, trading their iconic backward pants for a more mature style. This shift in their image and sound marked a significant departure from their previous work, leading to a mixed reception from fans and critics alike. The album, however, did reach platinum in the US and peaked at 13 on the US Billboard 200, a slight departure from the meteoric Totally Crossed Out. Their third and final album, Young, Rich and Dangerous, was released in 1996 from So Def and through moderate success, eventually reached gold. But in 1998, a new kid act would take So Def to new heights. Shad Moss began rapping at 6 years old under the name Kid Gangsta, and in 1993 he was discovered by Snoop Dogg at a concert in LA. Snoop was impressed by his confidence and stage presence. He even gave Shad his new name, Lil Bow Wow. Shad began to work with Snoop, appearing in the Gin and Juice music video and on the Doggystyle album. But being around Death Row was dangerous, even for a kid. Snoop wanted to get Lil Bow Wow out of the environment before he got in too deep. In 1998, Lil Bow Wow met JD through Snoop's recommendation. Lil Bow Wow started recording his album in 1999, and it was released in September 2000 when he was just 13 years old. The Beware of Dog album was released under So Def Recordings, with Jermaine Dupri producing most of it. The album was certified double platinum in March 2001 and peaked at #8 on the US Billboard 200. He quickly became a sensation with his catchy beats, charismatic presence, and relatable lyrics. Lil Bow Wow's emergence in the music scene echoed the impact Kross had in their early days, as he too introduced a unique flavor that distinguished him from his peers and appealed to a young audience, especially young girls. He was so successful that JD and Suge Knight, the founder of Death Row, had a slight beef about it.
I want to ask you this, and this is a question that, I guess a lot of people have kind of came to me and asked. The Source Awards. It has been said that you have beef with So Def family, that you asked them not to come to the Source Awards.
There ain't no beef. It's like this. For his Lil Bow Wow, I gave him his name, had his family living in LA, paid for his tutoring, did the whole nine. But you know, that guy was signed to me. So when I went to prison, everybody thought I had 100 years. Everybody felt they can do what they want to do. I don't have nothing against the Brat. I think the Brat cool. I don't have nothing against, Jermaine Dupri. I know a lot of times they say he said something like it's a problem or whatever. Ain't no problem. Business is business. You know what I mean? It's no different. If you owe me for something, pay me for it. If you don't owe me, you don't have to pay me. But when you owe me, you owe me.
But while Lil Bow Wow was blowing up, there was trouble in paradise for some of So Def's other artists and the label as a whole. By 1999, Xscape experienced some significant changes. During their tour for the Traces of My Lipstick album, Latasha Scott left the group despite their continued musical success. Reportedly, Latasha wanted to explore a solo career, leading to the group going on a semi-permanent hiatus. But on the flip side, JD also had another group on his hands. After being introduced to the quartet, Jagged Edge, Around 1995, through Kandi Burruss from Xscape, Jermaine signed them to the label. They released their debut album, A Jagged Era, in 1997, and their follow-up J.E. Heartbreak in 1999, both who had gleaming commercial success. By 2002, So So Def's distribution deal with Columbia had ended. The following year, Jermaine Dupri moved So So Def to Arista. While many of So So Def's acts transitioned to Arista, Lil Bow Wow and Jagged Edge were forced to remain at Columbia due to their contracts being primarily with that company. With two of their most active artists unable to follow the label, So So Def was in trouble. Plus, their one-time flagship artist, Brat, had been facing some troubles of her own. Although she was still seeing relative musical success, having been featured in several collaborations with artists like Dru Hill, Missy Elliott, and Mariah Carey. But legal troubles plagued her for most of the 2000s. In 2001, Brat pleaded guilty to misdemeanor reckless conduct after she had battered a woman in an Atlanta nightclub in 2000. She ended up serving a year's probation. And on Halloween 2007, Brat was involved in an altercation that ended in assault at a party. She was sentenced in August 2008 to 3 years in prison, 7 years of probation, and 200 hours of community service. She also was sentenced to pay the victim $6.4 million for their injuries. All of this obviously slowed down her musical output. After their merger with Arista, and following the loss of some of their most prominent artists, So So Def signed a few more acts like Youngbloods and Anthony Hamilton, both who had success. But by 2005, the label had to move again, this time over to Virgin and EMI, resulting in the loss of Youngbloods and Bone Crusher. They were able to keep Anthony Hamilton, Da Brat, and Jake One in the merger. Due to never really finding solid ground with a parent company and facing numerous artist issues, So So Def had become a shell of its former self. The label has changed parent companies over 5 times and is currently partnered with Create Music Group. In 2013, So So Def hosted a 20-year anniversary concert, where nearly every former artist from the label appeared. Two of note were Chris Smith and Chris Kelly, better known as Kross, the artist who started it all. It would be their last performance together. Chris Kelly, aka Mac Daddy, would die from an overdose later that year. JD would send out a tweet shortly after his passing. To the world, Chris was Mac Daddy, but to me he was a son I never had. As much as you may think I taught him, he taught me. God has blessed me to be in the presence of so many naturally talented people, and Chris was one. So So Def may not dominate the charts like they once did, but their impact on the music industry is undeniable. Jermaine Dupri's vision and talent brought us some of the most memorable artists and songs of the 90s and early 2000s. Many of the artists are still relevant today. Xscape is even co-headlining a tour in 2024 with the group SWV, without Latasha, of course. And while the label isn't as booming as it once was, JD is still producing for artists like Ari Lennox and Money Long. He has also introduced himself to a whole new generation through his reality competition show, The Rap Game. The rapper Latto got her big break from winning the show. The grand prize was a recording contract with So So Def, but unfortunately for JD, she didn't take the deal. Even though the label had its ups and downs, from Kross to Youngbloods, So So Def's impact on the South and hip-hop as a whole is monumental. So So Def will never be forgotten, as its legacy continues to influence the music industry and inspire new artists. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the music.